Wisdom Bites, hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us, very much appreciated. I'm going to be doing this video today on Friday rather than on Sunday, simply because I'm going to be very busy over the weekend and I won't have time to do that. So I thought I'll bring this forward for you and have a look at the current picture with Bitcoin, where it's at, where it's going, by looking at some of the charts that nobody else is looking at in the YouTube community. Hopefully it'll be a shorter video, but I'll try and do a wisdom bite at the end if I get time. If not, then we'll have to leave it until the following week. The main thing to consider is what's happening in the long term, because what's happening in the long term seems to be at odds with what's happening in the short term. So I'll also have a look at the shorter term picture and why we all have to be very careful in the short term and not get sucked in to selling Bitcoin at the time when Bitcoins are moving from impatient hands to patient hands. We need to be the patient hands rather than the impatient hands. And if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, let's get cracking. But as usual, before we begin, the disclaimer, please remember all my videos are for educational purposes only and nothing in the videos should be taken as financial advice. Please do your wider research before making any investment decisions. And we'll start off with this chart, which nobody seems to be looking at the moment. And I've shown you this chart many months ago, actually, when we were around about at the beginning of the bull market. This is the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin, this yellow line here, and it's taking it from 2010 all the way to the current because something special has happened. You may notice this line here. It's just shot up in the last couple of days and it's gone under the radar of everybody. So what is the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin? Well, it's basically the current supply of Bitcoin divided by the annual production of Bitcoin up to now this year. And we've just had this mighty increase in the stock to flow ratio model. Now, the reason why it's significant, if you look left here, you'll see why this is very, very significant and why it's telling you a picture which nobody seems to be painting at the moment. If we start over here, back in 2012, it shot up from around this point here, as you can see, a straight line up there. So it went from, shot up from here when the price was around about $10. And the line went all the way up to $174. And you would have thought that when the price is $10 and the stock to flow model, after which whenever it shoots up, you'll notice one thing. It has a period of going sideways before going in the upward direction. It seems impossible that a price of $10 would meet the $174 in such a short space of time. But this is exactly what happened here. Look, within a period of from around about here when we actually hit the stock to flow model rise, from end of October 2012, so within a space of a few months, we came up to that level here. Not only did the price come and meet the stock to flow ratio level, it actually went far in advance of it before topping out at around about the $1,100 mark at the end of this cycle here. In the second cycle, from 2014 to 2018 here, we had a similar rise here again. So when the price was around about $700 here, we got this increase in the stock to flow ratio. And once again, the top of which was around about here at 4,300. And when the price was around the 700 mark, it didn't seem very plausible at that time that the price could go to the $4,500 level in such a short space of time. And it's exactly what we did again here. So it's repeated what happened here back in 2013 to what's happened here in 2016. I remember doing a video when we had this. And the price around that time was around about $6,000. And the stock to flow line had gone up to this level here. And this was at around about the $60,000 mark. I think you're getting a clear picture now. And guess where it's topped out? Around the $64,000 mark. And the interesting thing here is, and this is what I want to bring to your attention, each time the price has come to meet the stock to flow line, have a look what happened here. Have a look what happened here. And have a look at what's happened now. Whenever the price has come to meet the stock to flow price line, we've had a correction here, a correction there, and now a current correction over here. But what happened after the correction? Is this what's going to happen? So that's the main thing to take away from here, is that history seems to be repeating itself. And because we've now just had an increase here, but look at where the line is, where the stock to flow line has got to, just over $700,000. This may seem implausible, but did it not seem implausible when the price before this line came up here, when the price was around the $6,000, it went up all the way to the $60,000. Now this $700,000 may seem very far-fetched, but this is the crypto world, and we only have to look at the history, because it's only then we can make sense of this. Because when the line went from down here around the $6,000 mark and the line hit the 60,000, no one thought that we could go to 60,000 within a few short months here, but we did. No one thought when the price was over here at around about the $700 and the line for stock to flow went all the way up to $4,500, nobody thought it would hit $4,500 in such a short space of a few months, but it did. And once again, back in the first cycle, when the price went from around $10 to nearly $200, no one thought that in such a short space of time we would hit this level, but we did. Not only did we do that, but we went and extended it in the first cycle and the second cycle. So are we in line to extend this to a further higher level than the 700,000? Only time will tell. I'm only bringing this to your attention so that you can see the bigger picture. Everybody seems to be focusing on the shorter, bearish picture which we have currently. But we've got to be able to see well beyond the shorter picture. Only then will we be able to make better investment decisions, when we zoom out and have a look at the bigger picture. So this is telling us that very shortly, in the next few months, we're going to be reaching these levels here. Because what happens when we have this line shoot up like it has just now? As soon as it shoots up, it goes sideways. This shoots up, goes sideways. This shoots up, goes sideways. This shoots up, it goes sideways. And so we're expecting the price, just like here, when it shot up here, the price was over here at this bottom level, and it went to meet that. And same here, there. So we can expect the current price at around about the $30,000 to start making a trajectory towards the upside to meet this line here. I'm not saying that we've bottomed out, although I do believe that we're at a very close point of bottoming out. So there may still be a little bit of give, as I'll show you in the short-term analysis a little bit later on. But certainly we're at or very close to bottoming out. And this would tell us that within a short period of time, we should be starting to make our way back up towards meeting these levels here. And my target has always been around 300,000. But this seems to be suggesting a higher level, and we're happy with that, because the higher the better, the more money we should be able to make in this bull run. So only time will tell. I'm only giving you, I'm not saying this is definitely what's going to happen, but it's definitely food for thought, and everybody can make up their own mind. For those people who've been in this space for many years will know that this is quite possible. But obviously, only with hindsight can we know that this will have happened in the future. If you want to support the channel, then please click on any of my videos, and then below the videos you'll find a box called Show More, which gives you a description box. And in that description box is the affiliate link with Etoro that I have. So I partner up with Etoro because that's the main exchange I use for all my investments. These are the reasons why I tend to use Etoro. It's a very simple exchange to use in terms of depositing money and withdrawing the money, as well as trading if that's what you want to do, as well as for long-term investing, which is what I tend to do. So if you want to support the channel, please click on the partnership link, and then what you'll do is you'll get this box here, and then you can basically put your username, email and password and just fill in the form there. If you like any of my videos and you find value in them, then please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, moving on quickly to the RSI and the on-balance volume, the OBV. I showed you in the last video that possibly there was a divergence on the weekly chart of Bitcoin by looking at the line chart rather than the normal candles. And in the last video, I said keep an eye on this. If this falls down, obviously the divergence is lost there. This is exactly what's happened. Unfortunately, the RSI has made a lower low, just like the price here. So the divergence is no longer there anymore. So that's not a good sign at all. But, however, if we look at the on-balance volume, I showed you in one of my previous videos that as the volume, on-balance volume was going down here, the price was going in the up direction over here. That was a signal for the price to tumble down. Now look what's happened. While the price, as I said before, has made a lower low here, the on-balance volume, as you can see, is showing a higher low. So is this a sign that we're about to turn around? So only time will tell, but keep your eye on this. Very, very important. Some of these indicators, we need to know that there's going to be a turnaround coming along. And there are some indicators which nobody seems to be looking at, which give us a picture which contradicts some of the other indicators. And always remember, no indicator gives you 100% of the picture. We have to use many, many indicators to build up a picture, to build up a scenario from which we can make a judgment call of which way Bitcoin is going up or down, or whether it's going to turn around or not. So this is a very good contributing factor here. So this tells you that there is a lot more volume on the plus side, on the bullish side, than the price here would suggest. Over the last many videos, I've been showing you this long-term trend lines for Bitcoin. The top resistant line, the bottom red support line, and the middle line here, which, as you can see, has provided a lot of support and resistance along this line. Quite a few people say, well, can it not fall below this line? Of course it can. And currently, if we just focus on this here, if we've drawn this line accurately, we can see that the price could obviously fall all the way down to about 28,000 here. But there's no guarantee that it can't wick down to 20, 21, 22, anywhere down here, and then get back and to the support levels around here again. So anything is possible. When I've shown you this line, doesn't mean that it won't go past this line. Of course it can. In the short term, while the price has been very bearish, because at the end of the day, if we look at the trend, and the trend is your friend, as they say, well, when we topped out over here, the trend is down here. And if this continues, then we can actually go down, wick down here, and then come back as support here. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. And Bitcoin's capable of doing anything and everything. Everything is on the table with Bitcoin. However, this line tells us that this is a very strong support line here, and that it would take a lot of effort for it to be broken down, especially with a body of the candle being closed below these lines, even at the 4-hour or the 1-hour time frames. I think if we fall below this line here, it'll be bought up very, very quickly, because that would present a fantastic buying opportunity for many people who are looking at this and realizing that if we fall below this, that would be a great buying opportunity and accumulation. Many people ask me, well, how do we know when we have a turnaround from this particular picture? I think we need to convert this to the daily chart and have a look at the moving averages. If we get rid of this line for the time being, what I've got is the 50 daily moving average and the 200 daily moving average, the green line there. Everybody's talking about the death cross that happened here, but if you look at the price over here at the cross, around here, it's already fallen by quite a bit before the cross came along. So you needed to really be selling off here to take advantage of this, because it's a lagging indicator, of course. However, the main thing to take away from this is, if you're a trader, you will know that these two lines are usually known for assessing whether we're in a downtrend or in an uptrend. The fact that we're trading below the 50 daily moving average, i.e. here, the trend changed up from here. the upward trend that we were getting here, as soon as we fell below this 50 daily moving average around here, the price for Bitcoin became in the downtrend. So the first sign that we need to see of a trend reversal in this picture here is to see the price move above these levels here. And that's at 35,000 plus, 35 and a half. Once we see that, we can turn our position from being bearish to at least being neutral by getting above the 50 daily moving average. And the second part of it is that we need to get past this resistance level. I've been talking about this 43,000 resistance level here, taking into account this high before we had a big correction here, and this level here before we had a big bounce here. So you can see that the chart is telling us these are key levels. One where we were strongly rejected and one where we were strongly supported. So once we get above this level here, we need to get past this key resistant level of $43,000. And then once we get that, then we're within reach of this 200 daily moving average. And that is what I would call a trend reversal. So the first stage would be to get above the 50 daily moving average. The second stage would be to get above the 43 key resistant level. And then the final stage would be to get above the 200 daily moving average. And then we're off to the races. So this is what I'm looking at. Currently, of course, the trend is down. And whether we like it or not, if you look at this pattern here, you can draw this as a descending triangle or as a symmetrical triangle. The main thing to remember is that whichever way you draw this is a continuation pattern. So the trajectory would be to the downside in the short term. Do I believe it's going to go down? Possibly it can do. However, many of the other factors which I showed you in the last video as well point to the picture that while the possibility is for the price to go down a little bit further, but the medium and the long-term picture is still to go to the upside. So that's basically what I'm looking at the moment. The bigger picture, but also realizing that in the short term, yes, we're bearish. We need to basically get above these levels here, the 35 to 35,500. We need to get above the 50 daily moving average, then the key resistant level at 42.43, and then above the 200 daily moving average. And if you found value in this analysis here, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. Quickly moving on to the miners, Marathon Digital Holdings is the one that we all seem to be wanting to have a look at. I've mentioned for many weeks now that this neckline here, once we break it, we tend to go to the races. Well, we were breaking this here. We came back to find resistance at that point. And then as we went up here, I highlighted this gravestone doji here, that more than likely we're going to have a correction back to these levels here. And this would present a fantastic opportunity. And that's exactly where we are now. We've gone down to 24.48 at the current prices. So we've fallen below the neckline here. And for me especially, this presents an amazing opportunity. So everybody has to make up their own mind about what they want to do. But certainly my position is that I'm accumulating as many marathon units as possible at these levels here. Because once we get past this line here, which is the $26 line, and I mentioned in the last few videos, many occasions, that the correction that we're expecting here will take us most likely down to the $26 level here. Well, we've gone further down to present an even better opportunity to buy. So I'm taking this opportunity to accumulate as much as I can at these levels, $24, $25. It's only a matter of time before we get back to this neckline for the next leg up. Please remember, this is not financial advice. Please do your wider research to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. Just a reminder that if you want to buy the Bitcoin miners, then one of the ways to do it, and the way I do it, is to actually just go onto the Etoro website here, and I have an affiliate link, as you know. And once you've signed up with Etoro, you'll be able to have access to not just the Bitcoin miners, but to the other altcoins as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's a very simple process. If you click the link here, you'll go to the Etoro website. You can just fill in your details over here on the right hand side, and basically you'll have access to them very shortly afterwards. And in today's Wisdom Bite, I just want to go through just a few general principles in life which have really helped me to achieve some of the things that I have in terms of my goals, my objectives, my targets, and to get closer to the vision and the dreams that I've had in the last 25 to 30 years. You may be surprised by some of these because it's not the general principles that people think about of how to conduct themselves in life. The first one will surprise you actually, because it's not a principle that I found common amongst the majority of people. And this principle says, always do more than you get paid for to make an investment in your future. I remember back in 1989 when I joined the medical profession, my background at that time was in economics. How I ended up in the medical profession, I'm not quite sure. But it was something I wanted to do. I believed in myself to do anything and everything in any profession. I believed in myself. And one thing I noticed was that the majority of people in the profession were just doing enough to get by so that they didn't get sacked. They didn't want to perform more than the salary that they got. They didn't want to do more than was expected of them. That to me looked like people who were cheating themselves, who were not realizing their full potential. And I found that when you do more than you get paid for, people notice that. And as a result, I ended up earning so much more bonuses than everybody else. And this one principle allowed me to earn enough money to be able to buy my first property with cash. And people who know me know that I have never had a mortgage. And it's this principle here that helped me to do that. When you do more than you get paid for, the rewards will come from areas that you are not even aware of. So please bear this in mind. Don't be like everybody else and just do enough not to get sacked. The only person you're harming is yourself. And the skills and the qualities and the attributes you're accumulating by doing this here will only benefit you in the long run, long after you've even stopped working for the company. The second principle is to reflect on your behavior with others and look for improvement, such as your language that you use with your children, your loved ones, your friends, and everybody else that you come across in life. The things to ask yourself is, am I being too stubborn? Am I being too strong or angry or aggressive? Am I actively listening to what people are saying? Or am I just listening to what I want to hear? Maybe you need to be more compassionate. So ask yourself these questions to put yourself in a position to at least improve. Because if you do that, it's only going to benefit yourself. One of the things that I like doing is to give people space to be who they are. I'm very happy for people to have a completely different point of view, a totally different perspective in life to me, to hold views which are completely the opposite of my views. And the reason for that is because it's my understanding that everybody is totally unique. No matter what background they come from, everybody has come to where they are today on a unique journey of life that's only unique to them. And what they've learned and what they've experienced may be completely different to what I've learned and what I've experienced. And I want to respect everybody's journey of life and learn from them to improve my journey of life. One of the saddest things I find is that when somebody holds a different point of view, there's so many people who want to just pounce on you and shout at you and to try and change your mind and try and change your perspective. Instead of learning from your journey of life, they want to change your journey, and that is something they can't do. The third principle is face your fears. This is how you conquer your fears, by facing them. Don't dismiss your fears. Don't sweep them under the carpet. Because if you don't face them, the stress of not facing your fears will get to you in the end. And that's a very bad place to be. The next principle is that if you want to have more in life, then you have to become more. If you want the next 5 years to be different to the last 5 years, then you have to change. I often say in my videos that I don't have a crystal ball. Well, on this point, actually, I do have a crystal ball. And that is that I can tell the future of 95% of people. All I have to do is look at the last 5 years of the majority of the people, and I can tell them straight away the earth-shattering prediction that their next 5 years will be about the same, unless they change. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. So if you don't like what you've achieved in the last 5 years, guess what? All you have to do is pick a new destination and start heading in that direction. Use your willpower to start that process. Please remember, you can give yourself the permission to change. You don't have to repeat your last year or the last 5 years. It's your choice at the end of the day, because the 95% of people will carry on doing exactly what they've been used to doing. Their pattern of behavior, their pattern of thinking, their pattern of the mindset. We're all creatures of habit, so we carry on doing what we're habitually geared to do. And that is to have a comfort zone of doing exactly what we've done in the past. It makes us feel comfortable. Changing that is uncomfortable. But if you want more, you have to change. The economy is not going to change. The weather's not going to change. The people around you are not going to change. The government's not going to change. So no one else is going to do it for you. So if you want to have a different outcome in life, then you have to have a different input from yourself. And that is, you have to change. It really is as simple as that. The next one is virtually impossible for most people. And that is to admit their mistakes. The countless times I've come across so many people who know they've made a mistake and yet they won't admit it. You see, we ask our children and others to admit their mistakes, but we don't do it ourselves. In my life, one of the greatest words that I have come across in the English language, can you guess what it is? It's this word here called sorry. This is such a magical word. I can tell you that this word could literally start a whole new relationship. It could help you in a totally new direction. It can make others think of you in a completely different way. It's a word that takes away people's anger towards you. It's a word that you can learn so much from once you've said it. So learn to use this word to your advantage. By saying sorry does not reduce you, but elevates you to a much higher position in life. And if you can't admit your mistakes to others, then at least admit them to yourself. That is part of what I call the inner dialogue, the conversation that we have within ourselves when we're on our own. And that conversation, that inner dialogue, I can tell you, will make you or break you in your life. And I'm planning on doing a whole video on the inner dialogue and why you must steer your inner dialogue in a certain direction if you want to be successful. And the final one today is this one here. Believe in yourself. Always remember, there isn't a skill in this world that you can't learn, or a discipline that you can't try. There isn't a book in this world that you can't read and learn from. For those of you who have been watching my videos will realize, when I'm doing my analysis, I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, and never have I ever claimed to be. I'm just a very average Joe Blog out there. And my story is a very strange story where I've gone from rags to riches, gone from never believing in myself, to now I feel I can do anything. I can take on the world. I can climb any mountain. And it's all about believing in yourself. And if I can do it, please believe me, you can do it too. So how do you believe in yourself? Let me give you a few pointers here. Firstly, accept your current situation. Whatever situation you're in, accept the status quo and be honest with yourself. Secondly, create a vision, a dream, a purpose. Set some goals for yourself that you can really believe in. Then trust yourself to get to your destination. Don't let fear stop you, and don't let yourself off the hook. And finally, go with a positive mind and say to yourself, if Mr. Wisdom Bites can do it, I can too, and more. And on that note, I'm going to leave it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you found value in this video, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. If you want to leave any comments, questions or suggestions, then please leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.